All right, Boxing Social here with Eddie Hearn. Yesterday, you were literally in the middle of the eye of the storm.
I've got a great way of making myself look like a prat, haven't I? You know, but I guess that's the beauty of slow-mo.
What went through your mind when that whole thing happened?
Just like get them away from each other, because like we're at the stage, especially with the British Boxing Board of Control, where if there's a punch thrown, if there's a rumble, if there's some chair or something thrown in, we're in the Derek Chisora, David-Haye, Dillian Whyte situation again, where there's like, they call you in tomorrow. I mean, could someone get injured? Just, we can't afford for this fight not to happen. So that was more like, whoa, okay. So, but obviously, I was like on a string going like, you want it? No, you don't. Oh, blimey, hold me back, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, because the video went viral instantly, and obviously Tony and David were in the middle of it, but you were also somewhat of a featuring act, I might say.
I always am. I managed to get myself involved. But it was more sort of like just getting him away, and when the security had him, it was all fine. So it was only handbags. But Hay put his head on. Like, you don't. Problem is with Tony, even if it's like, and they were both doing it, but it's Tony. Tony's Tony. He just wants to fight. That's all he wants to do. He's fed up of talking. He wants to get in a ring with David-Haye, and he wants to go to work on him. And yesterday, all you saw was just a little bit of handbag saying, "I'm ready. I'm here to fight." David-Haye looked like he'd seen a ghost, by the way. Tony's just Tony. But he don't change.
What's going to happen today?
No, I don't think you're going to get any. You know, I think some will all be between them. But again, the talking's over. I think Tony just wants to get weighed in, get back to the hotel, rest, relax, and get ready for tomorrow night.
Let's talk about Joshua Wilder negotiations. I know you've mentioned that you're somewhat 70% there, if I'm right. Have we any progress from that?
No, I mean they contacted me last night and just said, look, they'll come back with the answers to my questions some point today. So yeah, same as the other day. I'm confident it'll happen. You know, I'm not saying it will happen, but I think there's a good chance. But again, we'll have to see if the answers to the questions that I'm asking, and they're quite simple questions, are positive, then I think that 70 can move upwards. Until we see a long form agreement, who knows? But you know, I think generally we're all moving in the right direction.
Care to reveal what are some of the bigger questions that you're asking them right now?
Big question. I mean, look, I'm not going to go into all of them, but I'll give you one. Where is it? Don't feel like that's too difficult a question. Like, if it's in America, okay, it can still happen. But obviously it changes our decision process a little bit to if it's in the UK, which is where we wanted the fight. If it's in Alabama, or if it's in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, that changes our... If it's in New York or Vegas, that's probably where I think they'll say, great, well, okay, that's part of our decision-making process. If it's, we don't know, it'll be where you're told it is, that's not really of interest to us either. So, but I think that question will be quite easy for them to answer. I think they'll say it'll be at Barclays or it'll be at the MGM in Vegas. Basically, whoever pays the most money, no problem.
So you don't have any issues having the fight in the States?
We'd much rather do the fight in the UK. We have built what we have built with Anthony and he has built to be able to put on major events in the UK and to build, I suppose, home advantage, if you like, in the mega fights. But we also understand if it's a lot of money, which it is, we have to look at all options. And if this fight is in America, doesn't mean we accept it, but it means we know, and then we can funnel all that information into our decision-making process, if that makes sense.
To my understanding, you are making really aggressive moves in the States, and you are definitely trying to get more ground on US soil. You've mentioned that you'd like to sign the Charlo brothers.
Yeah.
Is that taking any steps forward?
Well, next week we make an announcement on Thursday in New York, which is going to completely blow up the world of boxing. Every US promoter that doesn't like me, every US manager that doesn't like me, will not be having a pleasant evening next Thursday. And it opens the floodgates for us to have a bigger budget than anybody, to sign, say who we want, because some are available, some aren't, but to actually be able to go to fighters and say, this isn't, you can box once a year, maybe twice. This is, you can have regular championship boxing. This is a long-term deal with huge amount of dates that we can plan your future. And it's going to be attractive to a lot of people. So it'd be interesting to see who comes over. But the floodgates are going to open, and we'll be after every top world-class fighter that does not have a promotional agreement.
So on top of Charlo's, are there any names that you're definitely looking after?
Well, look, I mean, again, I stress, we're interested in the ones that don't have a promotional agreement. So without knowing who has a promotional agreement, who is a target for Matchroom Boxing USA? The Charlo brothers, Adrian Broner, Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Deontay Wilder. I mean, like...
Have you followed the news about Mikey Garcia and Dana White?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah. I mean, so we'll definitely be approaching Mikey Garcia and making him an offer. I think with Mikey Garcia, he seems to be quite a shrewd guy. I think he has no promotional contract, I think he's fight by fight with everybody. So he's obviously in a good position. I'm sure Dana White, if they are actually going to go into boxing, will be keen to make him a substantial offer, as would we would. But we haven't been able to do that yet because we didn't have the commitment of dates from a broadcaster. We didn't have the pot of money that we have now. So now it's a bit like, this is like fantasy boxing for me, this announcement. You know, I can go out and I can really make my moves that I want to do. It's not a case of making the mistakes that others have made in the past and just wasting money. We've still got to put the right numbers together and make sure that the shows are fantastic. But we now have the opportunity to go to those guys, pay them more money, I think give them more promotional backing than they've had before, and a lot of people are going to want to listen just to see, out of curiosity, what can Hearn offer us. All they've got to do is call me and I'll let them know.
Finally, any thoughts about Frank's BT announcement? They're obviously going to put up a lot of big fights this year, and I know last time we spoke you said that you don't really see yourself as competitors with Frank, or maybe not at least in the level that people think.
Yeah. As a business, you know, I mean, over here in the UK, you have something called Companies House, whereby you have to file your accounts and you can look at the financial status of every business. When I look at their financial status, if that was me, I would be in hiding. So, as businesses, I don't see us as competitors. As promoters in box, I still don't. Like, I don't know. It's a different feel. It's a different brand. And I'm not saying that they haven't got good fighters, because they have. I mean, you know, he tweeted the other day saying, well, you tried to sign Fury and you tried to sign Frampton. Not necessarily true. I tried to sign Fury if he fought the guys that I wanted him to fight, not the guys he's going to fight. So, yeah, he's got fighters that are quality fighters, but just on a promotional sense and the state of his business, I don't see him as a competitor. But I respect him, and he's a survivor. That's what you got to say about Frank Warren. You know, he's been out, he's been back in, he's been out, he's been back in, he's been out, and he always says that, you know, yeah, your dad walked away from boxing. Matchroom Sport is a multi-sport business that survives with or without boxing. So when a sport becomes hot, or we build a sport to become hot, like we've done with boxing, like we've done with darts, like we've done with snooker, of course we're in the deep end. When the landscape of a sport changes or another opportunity comes up, we didn't leave boxing. We just didn't focus on boxing like we once did, because we felt that there was other opportunities elsewhere. With Frank, his business is boxing. That's why it's not in a good state at the moment, because boxing is up and down like his accounts. Well, no, generally always down. But so I don't not acknowledge what he's doing and say, wow, you know, because I'd be a mug. But I just said that I see him, you know, Frank Warren, Steve Goodwin, Cyclone, Hennessy, as those guys. And then with what we're doing, and particularly with our announcement coming next week, that's going to put us like levels and levels beyond him. But, you know, it's like you have your shop on the high street and then you have Tesco's. That's how I, you know, compare the two. So.
All right, Eddie Hearn, thank you very much.